Happy Tag Tuesday. Today I'm doing the Canine tag for the second time. That's right, I'm so creative, I thought I would record a silent film version the first time. Let's try this again. I owe a big thank you for tagging me to Philip, and also apologies. I thought I would have to have a pet to do it, but I don't, so now I can do it. And that was the delay. Okay, let's talk about the prompts. There are 9, K9, right? The first one is Playful Pup. This is a lighthearted, fun reads. Now, since I'm focusing on Nobels lately, I thought I would do some Nobel plays. Of course, many of them are comedies. And so I came up with a ton, mainly from the playwrights I knew, but AI helped me find some plays by people who, because there are a lot of people who write, plays and poems and national anthems and, novels and everything else, essays and criticism. So let's see what we got here. We've got a comedy of errors by Tagore, the Indian Nobel laureate. It's called Chitrangada, or Chitra for short. I believe Satyajit Ray made an amazing film version of it. This is a rom-com as well. Believe it or not, we've got a comedy of manners as well from Bjornson, early Nobel laureate from Norway. This is the newly married couple. It's a domestic comedy as well. You've got Günter Grass, the German, funny guy, very funny in his novels as well. With Wicked Cooks, this is an absurd slapstick. We've got another domestic, a dark domestic, from Gabriel Garcia Marquez called Diatribe of Love versus the Seated Man. Another dark, we'll get to that in a minute. Beckett's Waiting for Godot is one you might have heard of, pretty famous. But besides being absurd, it's also quite vaudevillian. You've got one from O'Neill, who I only knew, I've read a ton of, but I had to get help to find a comedy from. It's got one supposedly called a gentle comedy, called Our Wilderness. Folk comedy from Derek Walcott from St. Lucia. Tijan and His Brothers. Tijan and His Brothers. And then Gaoxin John, I've read his plays. He has a bunch. He's got a comedy, absurdist comedy called Bus Stop. AI found this one even from Fossa, called Doda, which is called a minimalist deadpan. Not quite sure what that's all about. And then the bulk of these are going to be farces. So you got absurdist farce by Laxness from Iceland called The Pigeon Banquet. It's also a social farce. You got the Cold War farce by Sartre called Nekrasov. I've read a lot of his plays, never come across that one. That one might have a bit of an edge to it. Skip that. This is our lighthearted. It's also why I left out all the satires, which is a ton. But I'll put them down in the descriptors so you can find more Nobel comedies. When you've read all of these, they're very fast reads, right? Okay, Kathy and the Hippopotamus is by Yosa. It's called a meta farce, and that's the one I was most excited to find and most want to read next. Yates has Pot of Broth, which is a traditional farce. You got High Farce from Pirandello, the Italian, something called Leola. That one of his I've read. You've got Dario Fo, who's also very funny. I've read a bunch of his comedies. His classic farce is called Accidental Death of an Anarchist. And let's move on to number 2, which is Pill in the Peanut Butter. So this is a book you thought you'd love but didn't. So in this one, I'll be terse. I like to expand on positive things, but negative things I don't want to dwell on too much. I was disappointed in Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. I found it while in Peace Corps when I had a motorcycle. And of course, I've always been very interested in Zen and done some retreats and stuff. But I didn't find it very Zen, and I also, there's a touching little short story, I would call it, between the father and son, I want to say. But they stretched it into a book with a bunch of sophomoric philosophizing, to be honest. If I'm honest, that's what I thought. Okay, now question 3. I'm going to steal Philip's answer, this is Puppy Dog Eyes. It's books that tugged at your heartstrings. So he liked not Levi Strauss, Primo Levi. Primo Levi, an amazing Italian survivor of Holocaust, and the one I read of his is Periodic Table. So he takes that pain and horror and adds these other interesting things to it, like chemistry. So I highly echo that choice, along with another great Nobel, which I was so glad to hear somebody else champion, which is The Buried Giant by Ishiguro, which I have a video about. You can go watch. It's about the sort of darkness in it. So yeah, the heartstring stuff there it is a fantasy questing, this old couple questing, looking for their son, but it's much more. It's their relationship. It's about loss. It's about the change from mythic time to historical time. So the loss of Wonder and Arthur and all of that. So much in there. Check it out. Question 4 is loyal companions, characters you'd love as a friend. I don't want to go with something too obvious as Sancho Panza or Huck or Tom or Siddhartha or something. If I wanted to go to hell, I would pick Falstaff. We'd have a good time going down. But I ended up picking sort of these academics in my little make-believe university. Paul Pennyfeather from Evelyn Waugh's, I forget which one that's from, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Simon Darcourt from Fifth Business by Robertson Davies. Arthur Dent, If I Was Going Traveling, from you all know what it's from, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, if I were allowed to imagine that these servants would be my friends without being in a servant capacity, I would pick Jeeves, from Jeeves and Wooster. Who wouldn't want this valet who just, takes care of everything, every problem in your life and makes everything better? Or Monkey from Journey to the West, or Ramayana. He's an amazing companion, fun, powerful, get you into scrapes, get you out of scrapes, but the love, when they opened his heart and Ram was written on it, opened his chest and Ram was written on his heart, that's the kind of friendship he has for Ram. Amazing. Okay, question 5, Chasing Your Tail. It's a book you keep returning to. Here I'm going to repeat myself from other tags. I usually try not to do it, but I just keep coming back to the Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. It just keeps finding me in magical moments of my life. And I return to Calvin Hobbes whenever I'm depressed, which a good booktuber friend helped me remember recently. Question 6, Go Walkies. It's a fictional place you'd love to explore. Lately I've been getting into reading or watching the lore from the different campaign settings for Dungeons and Dragons. They almost all have series of books written for them. So the classic Gary Gygax one is great. The modern one is called Forgotten Realms. The classic is Gray Skull. Not Gray Skull. That's the E-Man. Anyway, you've got a bunch of them. There's Dragonlance. What else have they done? Space Jammer, which is a weird one. That dark gothic one I didn't really like. So there are a ton of them. They're all fun. I would probably want to get myself up to date and do the Forgotten Realms one. So if I were going adventuring, or if I were traveling with my travel buddies, I'd go to Australia with Chatwin, or on the Appalachian Trail with Bryson, or around Ireland with the Fridge with the fellow who wrote that one. I wouldn't go with Paul Theroux, even though we're both Peace Corps volunteers. Probably have a lot in common. He's a little bit misanthropic in his travel strategy. Sorry. Okay, question 7. He's Got Fleas, a character who irritated you. I thought of, this gadfly that followed me. If you never met a real gadfly, I mean, I want to say for 3-4 hours on a hike one time, just in my ear the whole time. That tenacity, that's irritating. I thought of Javert, right, from Les Miserables. He just will not let Jean Valjean go and have a happy life, productive life, positive life, inspiring life, giving to the world. He wants to drag everyone down, and the worst is he thinks he's right, and the worst is there are many people who think he's right? Crushing those idealists on the barricade who want to fight for freedom and liberty and equality, and they just get beat down by the forces of order and security. Question 8 is Bexton Show, favorite fictional canine. The very first, my reading of Canine Adventures is unfortunately not beyond, I don't know, like Jack London, and ones like that. Although I prefer Jack London's communist narratives, to be honest. My immediate first thought was Rikki Tikki Tavi, which is a mongoose who saves the day in Kipling. So, one that I loved in my youth. But a quick look at the chart showed that mongoose is on the feline side of the feline canine split. But there were a bunch of other animals on the canine side, including otter and badger, both of whom are characters in Wind in the Willows, and also I think in Redwall at least has otter. Mr. Badger in Wind in the Willows is one of my favorite. He's got his little house there. I haven't read Tarka the Otter, but anyway, otters are my favorite animal, so I'm going to go with that. If I was forced to pick a dog, I guess it would have to be, again, a play. Not Robin Hood. What's his name? Peter Pan. Peter Pan's family that he adopts, I forget their family name, Wendy and the kids. Their dog, a big sheepdog, is named, I think, Nan. So I had to go with her. And K9, question 9 is tag your dog pound. So thank you very much. And please subscribe and comment and share and all those other good things.